Hey guys, today we're going to be starting on our first project for our 200-hour course, which is the Wood Hutch. If you didn't do metalwork last year in year 9, then you're watching the wrong video. This is for the 200-hour students. So the first thing we're going to need to do is go over here to the Create button. Click that and hit Document. We're going to call this Wood Hutch. This is my second one, so I'm going to call it Wood Hutch 2. We're going to click OK and then it's going to load in.
One eternity later.
This is our drawing plane here. This is on these three surfaces here is where we can create our shapes to make our Wood Hutch. In this section here we make the parts that go together to make the hutch, and we need to have a total of 9 different parts to make this hutch. So we're going to start off with a leg. So we're going to come over here to Sketch and we're going to click on Top. We're going to come over here to the View Cube. Click on top on that, and then it's going to focus us in on the top plane. We're going to come over here, and we're going to use center point rectangle. We're going to go from the origin, which is the center of where everything comes from, and just drag it out like that. We're going to go up here to dimensions. Click, click. Now we're using 20 by 20 RHS. So you can see here, everything turned black. That means everything's been dimensioned back to this origin point, which is very helpful. So in an ideal world, we would have everything turning black so that everything goes back to here. What we need to do now is extrude it. So we come over here to the extrude tool and we click on the part we want to extrude. And as you can see, it's already started to be pulled up. Now these legs are 600 tall. So we're going to put that in there, and then we're just going to have our leg. Like that. Now this leg here, as you know, RHS is actually hollow. So we're going to use this tool here, which is called the shell. And we're going to make our thing hollow on the inside. So we click on the ends. And as you can see there, it automatically drills a hole through there. Now our wall thickness is going to be 1.2. And that makes this distance here correct. What we need to do now is go down here to our parts menu and right click on part 1 and then go to properties. In here we're going to call it a leg. In the description, we're going to also call it a leg. And we're going to call it's going to be 20 x 20 x 600 RHS. And this is part number 1. Save. That's renamed it here in the parts menu, a leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click this little icon next to where it says leg in the parts menu, and that's going to hide that away so it doesn't get in our way for when we're making our other parts. The next part we're going to build is the side rail. What we want to do is maneuver our way around so that we're looking at the right side panel. We're going to sketch, click on right, use the center point rectangle again. Go from the center and drag out. This time we're going to be using 15 by 15 RHS. So we use the dimension tool, click, click, type 15 on each side so we get that square there. Then we're going to use the extrude tool, click on that, and this is going to be 260 long. We're going to come down here to the parts menu, we're going to right click, hit properties. We're going to call it side rail. And we're going to call it side rail here as well. And it's going to be 15 x 15 x 260 RHS. And this is part number 2. Save that. And once again, we're going to hide it away with the eye icon. Now we didn't shell that one because it's not going to become relevant in our drawing. The next part we're going to draw is the tool rest. So we're going to sketch, On front this time, use the view cube to go to the front. We're going to use center point rectangle. I'm going to draw it out like this. And this is going to be 3 mil. It's going to be 3 by 20. And now we're going to extrude this. And we're going to extrude it by 260. Once again, we go down to the parts menu, right click, go to properties. Call it tool rest. Tool rest again. And this is going to be 3 by 20 by 260 flat. And this is part number 3. Save. And hide away. Our next part we're going to draw is the front rail. So we're going to go to the right. Make sure we're focused in on the right. We're going to go to center point rectangle again. Go to the origin. Drag out. Go to dimensions. Click. Click. This is going to be 15 by 15 RHS. Once again, we go to extrude.
This is going to be 400.
Down in the parts menu, right click, properties, front rail. And we're going to call it front rail here as well. And this is 15 x 15 x
400.
RHS. And we're up to part number 4. I'm going to hide that away again. The next part we're going to do is called the tool hook. So this is the part where our fire tools hang off our project. So we're just going to go to sketch again, click on right. Okay, so we're going to come over here. We're going to click this little arrow next to this 3-point arc tool, and we're going to use the center point arc. We're going to click the origin. We're going to click out here. We're going to have a quarter circle like that. And we're going to make the radius 25. What that's going to do is give us about a little bit under 40 mil worth of material there. So what we want to do now, rotate around, and we're going to put another sketch on top. We're going to use the circle tool, and we're going to come down here and see how that has anchored itself to that arc we just made. So we're going to drag it out like that. So the diameter of this is going to be 6 mil for our 6 mil round. I'm going to hit the tick. So what we have is a drawing of a circle right on the end of our arc. The tool we're going to use now is over here. It's called Sweep. We click on that, and the first thing in this menu is Faces and Sketches to Sweep. That is our circle. So we click on our circle. Then we come back over here and click where it says Sweep Path. And then we click on our arc. And it's going to make us a little hook shape like this. And we just click the big green tick, and then we're going to have our hook made. So we're going to come down here to the parts list, go here, go to properties. I'm going to name it tool hook. And this is going to be 40x6 round, and we're up to part number 5. Our next part's going to be the cradle. So we're going to go over here to sketch, click on right, and focus in on right. We're going to use the line tool this time and draw a line that is perpendicular to the flat, like this. You see how it's got this dotted line? That means that it is dead flat, and that's what we want. And we're just going to have one that comes out something like that. Doesn't really matter. But the important thing is that our second line coming back is parallel to this line. We know that because it turns into a dotted line. So we click that like that. Now we have this sort of squash square shape. So we're going to dimension this line here. So this line here is going to be 282. This line underneath is also going to be 282. And we're going to dimension from this point up to this line, like this. And it's going to be 15. And then we're going to dimension from that angled line back to this line here, and it's going to give us this angle. And we want this angle to be 45 degrees. So now what we have is our squash rectangle with 45-degree angles here. It's 15 mil wide. And it should be 282 on each side. Little mistake there. Tick. And we're going to now extrude this, and we're going to extrude it by 15 mil. We're going to go down here to the parts menu, right click, go to properties. We're going to call this cradle. We're going to call it cradle here as well. It's going to be 15x 282. Part number 6. I might try to spell that correctly. Save. And we're going to hide that away again. Our next part that we're making is called a post insert. So we're going to focus in on top. Sketch, top. Center point rectangle. Going from the origin out. We're going to make this side 16 mil. And we're going to make this side 16 mil. We're going to extrude this out by 30. And we're just going to have this solid block here. Now this solid block has a hole drilled through the center here. So we're going to go to sketch again and click on the end of our solid block. We're going to use the circle tool. And you see how that's just gone straight to the origin there? Because we started drawing our square from the origin, it means that we've got an anchor point that we can put right here, which is going to be in the center of our square. We're going to draw a hole here. And this hole is going to be 8.5 wide. And now we're going to use the extrude tool. Click on that circle. Go over here where it says remove. And we're just going to make sure it goes all the way through. So we're just going to grab this little arrow symbol here. And pull it all the way through like this. You could also change the depth to being 40 or something like that. But that's just the easiest way to do it. And we're going to click tick. So this hole here, we're actually going to put a tap through this. And put a thread on this to wind on our knobs. However, it's not really practical to try and put on the thread onto this program through here. So we're just going to put a note in our plans later on. And we're just going to have a straight hole there. We're going to go over here. We're going to right click on part. 7, we're going to go to properties. And we're going to call it post insert. And this is 16 by 16 by 30 solid bar. And we're up to part number 7. We're going to hide that away. So we're going to do our knob now, which sits on top of our legs. We're going to go to sketch, click on top, and go and make sure that we're focused down on top. We're going to use this line tool and go straight up in the air like this. We're going to come out to the side, parallel line. It doesn't really matter what you do here. So this is our profile of our knob that we're making. This part here needs to be 5 mil. This part here needs to be 30. Our overall dimension from here to here can be a maximum of 15. This part here needs to be 10 mil. The rest of this can be put together however you want it to do, but understand that it's gonna, if you do too much to this, it's gonna start looking weird. So what I suggest doing is just doing something simple like this, so that when you come to do it on the machine, you're actually able to produce it, and you not get too bogged down in trying to recreate this on this machine, on this program. So we now have a profile for our knob. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to use this tool that's called Revolve. Our first option here is Faces and Sketches regions to Revolve. So we're going to click on our profile there. Our Revolve axis is this long side of our profile. And it's going to revolve it all the way around like that. So this part on the bottom here, we're going to put a thread on it, and it's going to screw down into the part we just made. And this is going to sit on top of our 4 posts around the outside of our firewood hutch, being a little bit of a decoration. I'm going to hit tick, and there we go. Down here to part 8, right click, properties. I'm going to call it a knob. 40 times 30 millimeter round. And we're up to part number 8. And we're going to hide that away. So the last part we need to make is a little tray that sits down the bottom of our firewood hutch and holds our kindling and newspapers and stuff to make the fire with. So we're going to go over here, we're going to go to sketch, we're going to go to top, and we're going to focus on the top. We're going to set a point rectangle again and draw it out. So this measurement here is going to be 390. And this one on the side is going to be 300. So we're going to extrude that now, and we're going to bring it up 100 mil. So we have a big box like that. We're going to come over to the right hand side. We're going to sketch on the side of our box. We're going to draw a line that goes from this edge down to the center of this. You see how we've got this little symbol here that's got a dot in the middle of the line? That means it's in the center of that line there. And now we're going to extrude that top right triangle there. We're going to remove it. And we're going to remove this whole top here. And that's what our tray is going to look like. So now we can turn it into sheet metal. We go over here to this button here which says sheet metal model. We click on that, and we have to click on the parts of surfaces we want to convert. So we click on our part here. Then we're going to go to faces to exclude. Now we're not going to have a top and we're not going to have the front. So now we have these 4 sides turned into sheet metal. Now we want to hit on edges to join. So this is where our bend lines are. And we're going to put a bend line right there. Right there. And right there. So we're going to be bending on these 3 lines to make our box. Now, we need to make sure that our thickness is 0.55 mil. It's going to turn it into 6 mil, 0.6, but that doesn't matter. Our radius needs to be 0.5 mil. And these other factors should just sort themselves out. So we're going to hit that big tick button now. And now we have this sheet metal project. If we come over here and we go and look at this button here, which looks like a sheet metal project that's been folded out, we can see the development as we're doing it. So what we need to do is add a couple of little tabs here and here to join our thing together. So what we need to do is we need to come in once again on the right hand side. We're going to sketch on this here. We're going to draw a line. We're going to go from the bottom to the top here, making sure that it's parallel. So parallel to this edge over here. We know that because it's got a dotted line. So we're just going to click like that. We're going to use the dimension tool, go from here to the first edge. And that's going to be 0.55. Right? Tiny, tiny, tiny little bit that we're taking off. We're going to go now to extrude. We're going to click on that tiny little sliver that we've done. And we're going to go to remove. And we want it to remove all the way across to the other side. So it removes that little sliver on here and there. Okay, now what we're going to need to do is put in a flange. So we're going to zoom in here. We're going to click on the end like that. And we're going to add in a little flange here, which is where we're going to join this side to make it nice and rigid. And we can do the same thing over here at once. And now we have those 2 flanges. What we want to do is change this to 15 mil. And we want to try and leave these as inner, type blind, 15 mil, bend angle 90 degrees. Try not to change anything there. If for some reason this is poking out the wrong way, you can use this button here to change which direction it goes. Tick. So now we have our 2 flanges. What we're going to do now is put our rolled edge on the top here to make our strong sides. So we're going to go up here to hem. And we want to change this to teardrop. And we're going to click on the outside, this side, and this side. See, it's thrown up this error. That's because it's all going on the inside. So I'm going to click this button and it's going to put it on the outside like this. And this is what we want. And we're going to have an inner radius of 2 mil, total length of 6. And that is what our tray is going to look like. So what we need to do now is come over here to this finished sheet metal model. And we're going to click on this. I'm going to click the tick. Right, that turns this. That's the program now that we've finished mucking around with that. We're going to right click on that there. We're going to go to properties. We're going to call it kindling tray. We'll put it there as well. And we're going to have here 620 by 424 by 0.55 sheet. And this is going to be part number 9. And that's all the parts that we need to have completed